This is 12 licks in the style of Slash. All these licks are in the key of G, and they're all inspired by the solo at the end of Paradise City. So if you haven't heard that solo, go ahead and check that out. It's an incredible solo. It's really fast. There's a lot of cool licks in it. I think the coolest idea from this solo is that even though it's all in G, a lot of different scales are being used. So there's licks that are in the minor scale, there's licks that are in the Mixolydian scale, there's licks in the major scale, minor pentatonic. So even though it's all in G, there's a lot of different scales being used. And in the licks I'm about to show, I use all those different scales. So that's one of the biggest takeaways from this lesson, is that even though we're playing in one key, we can play from a lot of different scales, and it sounds really cool. So that's a big takeaway. But aside from that, there's a lot of cool ideas in these licks. There's a lot of chromatic ideas, there's some repeating lick ideas, and there's some huge legato runs. So there's a lot to get out of this lesson. So let's get into it. Here is the first lick. So there is the first lick. This is a legato lick with some chromatic ideas. It's basically in the G minor scale. So to start off, I'm bending up a step and a half bend on the 15th fret here. It's important to get that 1.5 step bend. You don't want to land here. That doesn't sound too good. We're playing in the key of G. And so when you bend up a step and a half, you're hitting this note right here, which is the minor 7th of G. If you hit this note just a step up, it doesn't sound too great because it's the major 6th of G. It's kind of the Dorian note basically. So make sure you bend up a full step and a half up when you bend up that 15 on the first note. Now we climb down, and this is the chromatic part of the lick where we're playing some notes in between the notes, some notes in between the notes in the minor scale, and that's 15, 14, 13 on the second string. So, and I'm basically just doing alternate picking. The first note I'm picking down, and then just doing alternate picking down there, starting with the downstroke. So up a step and a half up, and then we get into this pretty quick legato run of 16th notes, just straight hammers and pulls, just picking the first note. So let me play through it one time. It's something like this. That's it right there. So we're starting off on the 13th fret on the second string and hammering up. And then after we pull off on the 15, slide down. And then 13, pull off to 11. And then slide down to the 10 and hammer back up to the 11. So that's the first 8 notes there. So just watch out where the slides are there. I'm starting off with the first finger on the 13th fret, sliding down, hammering on 11 to 13, and then that's a slide going down from 11 to 10, and then hammering back up to 11. So. Again, the secret to a lot of legato, I say this in a lot of my videos, but it's worth repeating every time. The secret to legato is pulling down when you're pulling off the strings. Not just letting go of your finger and letting it off the string, but you're pulling off. It's literally a pull off. You're pulling your fingers down. If your legato doesn't sound great, if you start doing that, it's going to improve dramatically, I promise you. So after this first 8 notes, we climb down, still legato. It's a pull off there, 12 to 10 on the third string, and then land on the fourth on the 12th and the fourth string. And then the last two notes, we just hammer up 10 to 12. So the last 6 notes is. And what you can do when you pull down, so you're coming on this last note legato here when you get down to this 10th fret here. So you can start with a downstroke on the 12 to 10 pull off. And what you can try to do, there's not really a right picking pattern. You know, the picking pattern is what feels comfortable to you and what you're able to play fast. But one thing you can try here is downstroke on the 12th fret and then downstroke on the 10th fret when you hit those last 3 notes. So a little economy pick when you go to that last hammer from the 10 to 12 on the third string. That makes it a little bit faster, a little bit easier to pick rather than doing downstroke, upstroke. So you can try that. If the downstroke, upstroke is not working for you, try the downstroke, downstroke. And in general, you know, trying to get the economy picking down is a good thing to have in your arsenal of licks. So it's worth practicing like that. So that's it. Let's play the lick one more time at a slow speed. So there is the next lick. This is a really cool, pretty standard minor pentatonic repeating rock lick. The cool part, I think, is this first 4 notes here, where you start on the 13th fret, slide up to the 15th, hammer onto the 18, and then do a little upstroke on the 15th fret on the first string. So that's the cool part of the lick for me. The rest of the lick is pretty standard rock lick. So I really like that first 4 notes. I think it's a cool way to lead into that repeating lick. So the rest of the lick, after we do this, is bend up on the 15th fret, and then 15th fret on the first string, and then 18, 15 pull off on the second string. So it's in that 15 on the first string, 18, 15 pull off on the second string. That's a triplet. So watch that feel. It's that's the feel. Now the last part of the lick, so you play this. That last note, instead of bending, you play that repeating lick, and instead of bending up on the 18th fret on the second string, you bend up on the 18th fret on the first string. Really cool way to end that repeating lick. So that's the lick. Let's play it one more time at a slow speed. So there's the next lick. We're basically playing in the same position as the last lick, just way down on the neck instead of way up on the neck. And it's also a repeating lick. So this time we're playing way down here on the 3rd fret, first string, and then pulling off 6th-3 on the second string. So the trick to this lick is, first off, I like to start off with an upstroke on the 3rd string in the 1st fret. The other thing that helps me is a little bit of palm muting. So when I palm mute on the 3rd string, on the 1st string rather, just rest my palm lightly when I'm playing the 1st string there, and when I exit the string, so I don't hear that 1st string ring out so much. That makes it sound much better to me. So So I'd try that technique. Try palm muting a little bit when you're playing this lick. The other trick here, it kind of in the same vein, you don't want this first string to ring out on the third string. You don't want the lick to sound like this, where you hear the third fret on the first string kind of ringing out the whole time. You don't want that sound. Lift your first finger up a little bit. You do this roll action. Basically, so it sounds like 3 distinct notes instead of 2 notes, with this third note on the first string ringing out the whole time in the background. That's what you want to avoid. So those are my tips for playing that lick. One more time at a slow speed. So there's the next lick. We got a pretty fast lick here that's combining a couple different scales. So this is kind of a minor scale lick, but we get into a little bit into the Dorian because we have this 5th fret on the 2nd string that's pretty prominent in the lick. And we also have the blues note, the 6th fret on the 3rd string, which is the flat 5 of the G note. So we're combining a few scales. So this is a good example in this lesson where we're getting into some licks that are covering a couple different scales. So some cool ideas here. Some cool legato stuff. So let's break it down. The first part of the lick, just starting with the downstroke, 5/6 in the first string, really easy. And then we do this 30-second note run here. That's a little 5 on the first string, 6 pull off, back to the 5th string or 5th fret on the first string, and then 8th fret on the 2nd string. So far it's this. And then we go 5 on the first string, 8/6 on the 2nd string. You can either pull that off or pick both notes. And then we get into the section that's a little bit Dorian, a little bit major, you could say, because we're playing a major note here. We're playing the major 6, the 5th fret on the 2nd string, and we do a little legato thing here. So it's 5/6/8 on the 2nd string. We do that twice, and then pull back off to the 5, and then slide down to the 3. So. And then we pull off 5/3 on the 2nd string, and then land on the 5 on the 3rd string. So it's like this. And so we land on this note here, and then we're in that blues note territory. So that part's really tricky, so let's play through that one a couple times at a slow speed, starting off with a 5/6/8 hammer on twice. It's like this. So that's really the tricky part of the lick right there. So watch that one. But again, the big takeaway from this lick is we're combining a few different scales into this one lick that's just played over the G. So let's play through this lick one more time at a slow speed. All right, so now we're in classic G minor pentatonic territory. So another example here where we're blending a bunch of licks using different scales together. So we're not sticking to just boring minor or minor pentatonic all the way through. We're playing licks that are straight minor pentatonic, licks that are blending the blues scale and some major notes and Dorian notes. So we're back in the minor pentatonic scale here. Really basic stock rock stuff here. So bending up on the 5th fret on the 3rd string. And we do this bend thing. And when I do this bend, I think it's cool to bend up, bend back down, and bend back up. Or maybe start bent up and then bend down. I like to do cool things with bends like that. I don't like to just do the... I like to do some unique things. So whatever you want to do there, as long as it's in time and it sounds good, try and do something interesting on that bend. But the last few notes are... I'm playing downstroke there, and then upstroke when I get to the 4th fret on the 5th string, and then downstroke in the 3rd fret on the 3rd string. So let's play through this lick one more time at a slow speed. Here's another lick where we're combining some chromatics and a little bit of the blues scale. So starting up on the 10th fret, we're bending up a step and a half. Note that the first lick we played in this lesson was bending up 15th fret on the 2nd string, up a step and a half. It's the same note here. And we're bending up a step and a half for the same reason. We want to end on the major, on the minor 7th of G. We don't want to land on the major 6th of G. That doesn't sound very good. So we want to bend up a full step and a half. And then we do this chromatic climb down. And then 6th fret on the 1st string. So that's the basic lick. And then we get into the 16th note fast part, kind of getting into the minor pentatonic and blues territory. In that part, let me play through it one time slow. It's like this. So starting on the 6th fret on the 1st string, play that, then pull off 8-6 on the 2nd string, and then slide down to the 3rd, and then hammer on 6, pull off, and then 5-3 in the 2nd and 1st string, or 3rd and 2nd string rather. And then the last few notes, you're doing the blues note there. So pull off 6-5-3 on the 3rd string, and then land on the 5th fret on the 4th string, and then 3rd fret on the 3rd string. So let's play through this lick one more time at a slow speed. So there is the next lick. We're into legato territory here. This is going to be really good practice for you if you're starting to work on your legato, because as far as legato goes, this is a fairly easy lick. I wouldn't say it's the easiest lick because we're moving up in positions. So that's the tricky part. But if you have the basic legato, pull off down, and you can do that, the basic... You can kind of do that. This is a good second level where you're able to take positions and move them up the scale smoothly. So a really good legato exercise, and this is something that's really flexible because you can play this type of lick in any scale on the fretboard, in any key. So a really good practice lick. So let's break it down. We're playing in G minor pentatonic here. So starting up 8 on the second string, we're just 8, 10, 11. And then 11, 10, 11, 13. So if I was just starting to learn how to do this, I would do that over and over again just to get used to the position change. So if you're a beginner and you're just starting to pick up this legato, I would do this. Get that down, and then I would get this down. And then I would start to play them together. And you get those down by playing those really slowly and with a metronome. So that's the way I would practice those things. And you'll be surprised if you don't have these down yet and you're starting to practice these, how far a little lick like that will take you. If you can play that 3-note lick really, really well, you're on your way to playing legato all over the fretboard really well. So get those simple licks down. Get those simple 3-note licks down. You'll get a ton out of it. So that's the first part right there. Then we do a hammer 10-12 on the first string, and then 13 on the second string. So it's, and then 10, 12, 13 on the first string. So, and then again 10, 12, 13 on the first string. And then we slide 12, 13, 15 on the first string. So and there's another section that's good to practice. So we got that, and then the last few notes here, we go to 5, 15, 17, 18 on the first string. And then we do this really fast run. That's 17 on the first string, hammer up to 18, then pull off, back to 17, then back to 15. And then land on 18 on the second string, 15 on the first string, and then bend up. So the last set of notes there is so hammer up 5, 15, 17, 18, then you do that lick. So that is the lick. Let's play it one more time through at a slow speed. So there is the next lick. Now this one is very much in the same vein as some of the last few licks where we're doing a lot of legato here. This is inspired by one of the licks from Paradise City, but I simplified it a lot and made it a little bit easier to play. The idea here is that this is something you can practice to get really comfortable playing through a scale using a pattern and using legato. This is a good first lick to get good at when you're trying to get good at legato style playing. So all pull-offs in this lick. So we're playing through the G minor pentatonic scale, and we're doing a really simple pattern. We're just playing down playing down basically in 4-note sequences. So go down 4 notes, start at the next note down, play down 4 notes, start at the next note down, go down 4 notes, and we're going diagonally down. So there's also slides in here. So this is a great lick to practice if you're getting into legato style playing. So let's break it down really slowly. So starting on the 15th fret on the first string, just down 4 notes. Then down 4 more notes, starting in the 13, 12, pulling off. So that's basically the pattern. We're going all the way down here. So next note down, starting in the 12 now. That's 12th fret on the first string. So what you'll notice here, what you'll have difficulty doing is that there's a lot of different patterns in this lick, whereas some of the earlier legato licks, like that was basically 2 patterns and we're kind of repeating it up the neck. This is more difficult because we're not repeating notes. We're going down the strings. That makes it much harder, but all the patterns are different and the fingerings are different. So this is the next level up in legato playing. So, and that's the first slide down. So that part where we go 15, 13, 12, we slide down to the 10. Then we go back to the pattern, starting on the 13th fret, pulling down. Here's another tricky part. So that's 13, 12, 10 on the second string. That's where we are, landing the 12th on the third string. Then we pull off 12, 10 on the second string and 12, 10 on the third string. Now the part that makes the part of that that's tricky is there's a finger roll there. So I'm starting on the third fret, third string on the 12th fret. To play the 12th fret on the second string, I need to roll that finger. That fingering is tricky to get down if you're not used to that, so practice that part slow. Then 10th fret on the second string, another slide there, so 10 on the second string, 12, 10 on the third, slide down, and then another slide in this next 4 notes here, so 12, 10, 9, 7. Then 10, 9, 7 on the third string. That's landing on the 10th and the 4th string. Then 9 on the third string. Then that's 9, 7 on the third string, 10, 9 on the 4th string. And that right there, that 4-note pattern, that part where we're going down from the 9, 7, and then 10, 9 on the 4th string. That's also another tricky part because of the fingering. We're pulling off the pinky, fourth finger to the third finger. Your pinky tends to be your weakest finger, so that's a weird pull off. So that little lick right there, if you're having trouble there, I would just work that over and over again. To get used to playing, with your third and fourth finger alone. It's pretty difficult fingering if you don't have that, if you haven't developed your pinky strength. So then 7 on the third string, and then finally 10, 9, 7 on the 4th string, and then land on the 8th fret on the 5th string. There it is, kind of slow. Now let's play it one more time through, even slower than that. So there is the next lick. This is obviously a very chromatic style lick with a little bit of a blues scale in there. So we're basically playing the pattern, the main pattern in this lick is 15, 16, 17. Very chromatic style lick. So we're basically, and very legato too, so a lot of hammers and a lot of hammers in this. So 15, 16, 17, we'll repeat that twice. Then on the 4th string, then we go 3rd string, 4th string. So far it's like this. Then go back to the 3rd string to the 2nd string. So that whole chromatic legato part is this. So that's the chromatic legato part. The next notes get into the blues scale, and it's the same pattern, but we're just playing not chromatic anymore. We're playing the blues scale. So blues and I guess the Dorian scale, because we have the 17th fret on the 2nd string, which is the major 6th. So 15, 17, 18. And then the last note is 15 on the 1st string, and then 18th fret bend up on the 2nd string. So that's the lick. Let's play it one more time through at a slow speed. So this lick right here, you'll recognize it's pretty similar to one of the licks at the end of the solo to Paradise City. And this is where we start to get into major territory here. So we're basically playing in the G major pentatonic scale. It looks like E minor pentatonic scale if you recognize the shape, but over the key of G, the E minor pentatonic scale is the G major pentatonic scale. So you should be pretty used to this pattern if you're a pentatonic scale type person. So basically, we're starting on the 12th fret of the 3rd string, and then 14th fret bending up. Just that standard 14th fret bend up, followed by 2 notes on the 2nd and 1st string. Pull off 15, 12. That's bend up on the 14th fret, bend back down. And then finally we end up with this little 16th note pull up. That's just 14, 12 pull off to 14 on the 4th string. And then land on the G note, 12th fret on the 3rd string. So let's play through this one more time through at a slow speed. So there is the next lick. This is a pretty cool repeating lick here. It's a unique sound playing over the G because we're playing basically the G minor pentatonic scale, but this first note, the 14th fret, we're bending up. It's the 2nd of G, and we're bending it up a half step. And so that's it. You could look at this as minor pentatonic, G minor pentatonic. But the unique part is we're starting on the second and bending up to the minor third. So the 14th bending up to the 15th. So it gives a little bit of a unique sound. So bend up 14 on half step, and then 13, and then 15 on the second string. What I would suggest you do is do economy picking. So down on the 14th fret, and then down also on the 13th fret on the second string. And that is the lick. One more time at a slow speed. So there is a really fast repeating lick. The takeaway from this one, this is really similar to one that Slash plays at the end of that Paradise City solo, and it's extremely fast. And the way you're able to play this fast is economy picking again. So I've touched on economy picking a few times in this lesson, and for good reason. To play like this, licks like this quickly, you pretty much need to use economy picking. So where you do this is the only place where there is a pick. So you start off on the 13th fret on the second string, hammer on, pull off to the 15th, then 15 on the third string, and that's a downstroke. And then when you hit the 13th fret again on the second string, that's also a downstroke. So notice my fretting, my pick hand there. Downstrokes, it's just downstroke. So that's how I'm able to play that fast, is that I am just doing downstrokes. So let's play through this one more time at a slow speed.